Thank you. After several seconds, we are in. Okay?
Okay.
We are in.
Yes. We are in now? Okay.
Yes. We can start.
Okay. Okay. So, well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, etc. To all of you, and nice to see you here in this Zoom meeting. So this is the group meeting of the working group research. And as it was also already announced, most of you will have seen it, of course, on the website of the IGH NGO Forum. The main topic of discussion today is the discussion about the mission statement, and this was prepared by a small group. Okay, so Hannah will be arriving a few seconds later, so that's no problem, I think. Can we have the next slide, please, Kaloyan? So, well, I noticed that Laurier has disappeared now, but he asked me just now, what are the webinar etiquette and how shall we do this? So let me start first by introducing myself. My name is Albert van der Zeijden, and I work at the Kenniscentrum Immaterieel Erfgoed Nederland, to pronounce it in Dutch. So the Dutch Center for Intangible Cultural Heritage, and I am the coordinator of this working group on research. And so what I would like to ask you, and most of you have already done it perhaps, is to mute your sound. But we should. I would like to see you, so don't mute your video. And well, contributing, Laurier was just asking me about this, and we have, of course, two options. And the larger the group gets, then we should select the option of, okay, asking questions by means of the chat function. And you are all aware of the chat function in Zoom, but I think the group is not that large, so perhaps we could also do it by well, raising your hand. I don't know if it's visible in Zoom, but you can ask for the floor, and it will be no problem, I think. Okay, can I have the next slide? Kaloyan? Yes, okay. What are we going to do this hour? Because we have only 1 hour to conclude our meeting. And well, we will start, of course, which we've already done. So welcome and introduction by me. And then we will get the presentation of the mission statement. So I want to put in your, so as some of you might recall, perhaps, during the meeting in Colombia, the last working group meeting in Colombia, it was decided that we should do two things. And the one was, okay, organize a organize a symposium on tourism and intangible heritage, intangible heritage and sustainable tourism. And that was done, of course. That has already taken place last Sunday. Perhaps some of you might have joined this meeting and seen it on YouTube or on the Zoom meeting. So this was the one thing we had in mind to do last year. And the other thing was that we had a mission statement group who should prepare a mission statement. And well, the names of the guys and girls who did this are here indicated in the agenda. So Martin Andrade and Perez, Valentina Zingari, Amelia Frazao Moreira, and Tamara Nikolic-Jeric, if I pronounced these names correctly, have prepared this mission statement, and I hope that most of you will have seen it on the internet, because you can find it on the website of the IGH NGO Forum. But the presentation of the mission statement will be done by the mission statement group, as you might call it, so by Martin and the others, and after that we will have some discussion about it. And then I want to talk somewhat about future plans, and I want to single out one because it was already presented to us during the tourism symposium last Sunday. The last presentation then was by Martha and by Jorijn, and they told us about the plans of making a toolkit for sustainable tourism and intangible heritage. And I think it would be a great idea to embrace this idea, but let us talk about this during this meeting. And in the end, we must say something about the coordination group itself. Until now, it's just one person, me. And as you may have noticed in the mission statement, it is suggested that we should have a coordination team of, for instance, 3 persons. So I don't know if everyone is going to agree with this, but I think it would be a sensible option. And so in the end, we could talk about this coordination group and who would these 3 persons be. Okay, so this is my little introduction. I don't know if there are already questions, and otherwise I would like to suggest to go on to the next agenda point. Yes, okay. So and the next agenda point is, of course, the presentation of the mission statement. And this will mean, in a technical sense, perhaps, Kaloyan, that you should stop this PowerPoint and give Martin the opportunity of sharing his screen with the mission statement. Yes, yes, okay. Thank you, thank you. So, Martin, to you the floor.
Yes, hi everybody. I'm going to share this document. That's it.
Yes.
Can you see? Yes.
I can see it, and I hope everyone else can see it. Yes. Okay.
Okay, I guess, Albert, that maybe we can do an explanation before of the mission statement. I think we prepared the mission statement the last month with Valentina, Amelia, and Tamara. And the idea is to give a step forward for the working group research. So as Albert was saying, until now we have had some meetings, and Albert has been the head of the mission of the working group research. But now the idea is to do more things. So we prepared this. It has a background of the working group research, as you can see here, and then the nature of the working group research, some guiding principles, a mission, the main mission, some short-term and long-term objectives, and some topics that can be addressed by the working group research during this 5-year period, some projects and activities, and then the organization. So that's the structure of the document. The background, what we made, that's we took the last documents of the working group research, the 4 or 5 documents maybe prepared during the committees and the general assemblies. We were saying all the time what we were doing, so we have this mission statement now. We have done the last years, the last meetings. That's the background. So you can see that we are saying what we made during the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th COM. That's the meetings we had and the topics we discussed during that meetings. Then the nature of the working group research, which is very important. We are saying that the working group research is a community of NGOs involved in the safeguarding of ICH, with collaborative research applied to ICH safeguarding as the major interest. So it's a platform. It's a platform to share and discuss our research. We wrote some guiding principles. So the first principle, maybe they are similar to some of the convention principles, but we think we have to repeat them because it's very important for our research and our work. And so the first one is that communities, groups, and individuals are the essence of every safeguarding process. We are saying that ethical principles should be applied to research on ICH. We are saying something about the diversity of research methodologies, saying that it is a key component for every safeguarding process. We are talking about cooperation and exchange of knowledge, good practices and opportunities, saying that it is an important condition for the success of every safeguarding process. And then saying that all these reflections are fundamental for a good implementation and evolution of the convention and for the safeguarding of ICH in general. And so the mission of the group, we have some discussions about this. So we have three main missions. The first one is to foster knowledge exchange, information sharing, and promote wide accessibility of research articles, databases among the members of the ICH NGO Forum. Then promote collaborative research on topics relevant to bearers, practitioners, institutions, and other stakeholders, offering support in safeguarding processes. And then strengthen the cooperation between different stakeholders taking part in safeguarding processes. So that's what we define as our main mission. Then I am not going to show or to read all the short-term objectives and the long-term objectives, but the short-term objectives are what we can do in this next year, the next 2 or 3 years. And the long-term objectives, it's what we think we can do or we can manage to have in the next 5 years, maybe 4 years. So it's our like a very general objectives, and it's kind of what the organizations call the vision of the working group research. And then we included some topics. The next last week, Gulnara proposed an extra topic, which is ICH and politics. So we have it's really a very wide group of different topics about research and ICH. Of course, we have to define this topic better to really define which ones we are going to work this next year, this next 2 years, but I think we have a lot to choose. We have some specific projects and activities for the 2021-2025 period. We are going to talk about one of these projects soon, but the annual meetings during the General Assembly and the committee meetings is one of our activities. We are proposing a database of researchers and research topics of the group, and then our annual thematic webinar that we think we can organize one annual thematic webinar between us. And finally, the organization of the working group research. Albert was introducing this point. Until now, it's Albert who has been like taking care of everything for this working group research. So the idea is to create a coordination team of, we were thinking of 3 members maybe on a voluntary basis. So I think we can manage to define this group between us without formal elections, because I think we already have many elections. So maybe if we have some volunteers, maybe Albert should be there because he has all the story and all the background. So some other 2 or even 3 people there working on this committee of the working group research.
Okay.
Yes, that's it. It was fast, so we can have time for discussion, and we can change some things of this mission statement. I don't know if Valentina, Amelia, or Tamara would like to say something about the mission statement.
Good morning, everyone. I think it's perfect, Martin. Thank you. Everything is. Perhaps I want to highlight that the document was. We did the document on base of the discussions in the last meetings. So I think it's express all the discussions we had in the past.
Yes,
Yes.
I can confirm very good presentation from Martin and observation, Amelia. I think that the best thing to do is really to open a discussion, perhaps on every part of the statement, in order to share with we have a lot of competencies in this group, in the large group, and it's today the opportunity to really share observation. We had also on the question of sustainable tourism, for example, we had a reflection with Joren, Anna, during the committee of this week on the question of commercialization, not only over commercialization, for example, but also a good commercialization as a challenge. Then I think that we have also to reflect on the topics together and priority also. Then let's share again perhaps the statement and open the discussion, the reflections.
Yes, so that's a proposal, so we can change everything if you want, but it's a first proposal, so we have something to work on. And so I would propose maybe not to do the changes right now, but just to, if you all have the document, we can discuss the document, we can take notes, and then at the end of the day, we can share with you the final document after your all your comments and all your proposals. So I will share again the document.
And are we going to do it paragraph by paragraph, you think, Martin? Or?
Yes, I guess that point by point, just to see if we have some observations. I guess that would be an appropriate. What do you think, Albert? Yes, I guess it's an appropriate
okay.
way of working. Yes. So the background of the working group research, I guess it's not. I don't know if you want to add something or to include something else, but I guess it's very, very concrete.
Yes.
Yes, it's just saying what we have done before. Maybe there are some other things and some other projects that can be included, but I guess that with this 2 paragraphs, it's enough. Then the nature of the working group research, maybe it's a little bit more not important or problematic, but we have to define the nature of the working group research, because one thing is that we are not another forum, and we are not a formal organization. It's just, we are just a community of NGOs. So that's very important. I don't know if everyone agrees with this. It's a platform to share and discuss the research.
I think there's also the question of, first of all, the mission statement is excellent. It's very comprehensive. It deals with other topics. I think that in this question, this part about the nature of the working group research and further on, I have the question of by whom and for whom. And that kind of detail doesn't necessarily go into a mission statement, but it's something that's worth thinking about and elaborating on. I think I feel that the research working group is like central, really critical to the sort of evolving character of the ICH NGO Forum in terms of advisory functions to the Secretariat and the IGC. So, perhaps there's a word beyond platform, or it maybe could use some sort of elaboration. The question about community of NGOs. So maybe somebody can answer this who's involved in drafting the document. Does this mean members of the working group acting as vehicles, as spokespeople for NGOs? Is there any thought of the NGOs to which we belong contributing to the work of the research working group? So that's one question. It's by who? By us as members or our NGOs? And the other question is it assume that it's would be directed to the Secretariat and IGC, beyond what we do and have done in the forum meetings.
Yes, Martin, is some of you of the mission statement group can say something about this? So I can say also something, but perhaps first you should start.
So I understanding that the idea of Robert is to change some wording here, like community and platform, or to think about it and to include something about some advisory functions.
Yes.
I don't know about the advisory functions. If we, yes, we should include this, because I don't know if the working group research will have a direct communication with the Secretariat, or maybe with the steering committee of the ICH NGO Forum.
So one more point related to that, if I may. So in the steering committee, we've begun to speak about how the working groups, will be effectively the driving force in providing work that would, shape the advisory functions. I mean, the steering committee is the coordinating, the leadership body, and if there's something that's carried out by the research group that would have the imprimatur of the ICH NGO Forum, I think it's something that needs to pass through the steering committee. But the steering committee is an administrative and coordinative body, so the actual work that shapes what we do in terms of advisory functions is, I think it would be carried out to a significant extent by the working groups.
I noticed that in the chat there are some persons who who have questions. So no, but before I give the floor to these people, we are a community of NGOs, of course, and of course there was a lot of discussions last time. We are not a community of researchers. We are a community of NGOs associated of accredited NGOs to this convention. So I would see it in the light of this, and of course the purpose of the convention is safeguarding intangible heritage but I think that some of the questions, I noticed that Hannah would have a question, Jorijn, Naila, and perhaps someone more. But could I start with Hannah, perhaps? Hannah Schreiber, are you there? I cannot hear you. Please unmute yourself. There's a problem, she tells us in the chat. We've noticed it. Perhaps Jorijn first, then?
I put my question in the chat box, actually.
Yes.
And it's related to the subject you just responded to. It's more like, how do you see this relation? Maybe we should say something about it, at least in a mission statement, because many of the people have double functions, as you know, or both in NGOs and doing research work. And I understand that there's a need to focus, but I think we should also reflect on the relation with the wider research field.
And do you have a suggestion, or when you make this intervention?
Well, even when it's organized within the forum, it can be a platform indeed. But now yes. It seems like this stays out of the image.
Yes, okay. But where I was thinking about when you mentioned this in the chat, perhaps we could say something about that we have an intermediary function, perhaps.
Yeah, why not?
Between communities, communities and researchers, between etc. So,
yeah, but even the dialogue between NGO research and academic research,
yes,
is something, as we have the experience as well, that still needs a lot of dialogue and also exchange. For example, how can you integrate different kinds? This is the collaborative approach. Different approaches to research, maybe in this spirit of the convention.
yes, I think so. I think we could say some things about this in this section. So the exact wording could be decided later, but a good point. Yes, Joanne?
Yes, it's a good point. I think that the question is also to speak about the networks, the different networks in the framework of the convention working together. Then we can give the focus on this NGOs participation, but also to perhaps put a sentence on these networking activities of the working group research in the framework of the convention. Then I think that the sentence of Joren in the chat can be very useful as a memory, and we can try to find a good sentence later.
Yes. Perhaps there are two aspects that we could start by defining some of the networks active and then position ourselves within all these networks. And the other thing is, of course, that perhaps you should also start with network activities or cooperation with others. And last year it was, for instance, suggested to cooperate with Memora Media Review in Portugal, and of course this is also a stakeholder in this field of collaborative research, etc. So perhaps we should say something about networks and how we define ourselves within this complete field in a way. So okay. Yes, okay. Are you taking notes, Valentina or Martin?
Yes.
Great. And yes. Let me see. Hannah, is your problem already solved, or I will log out and log in again? Are you?
Let me know. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
That's
I can hear you.
So it's sorted out. Okay. Thanks. So thanks a lot. I wanted just to have one comment relating the whole discussion. I love the document, and I believe it is fair and broad, and I would avoid introducing too many details and too many restrictions and too many formalities, because I know that we can of course discuss about the wording, but as we all know, putting something on paper doesn't change the reality. So of course we can debate for hours about advising, not advising, and so on. I believe that the best spirit of the group is when it remains a group of really people with passion, and this is how I treat this group. And so I believe we can more concentrate not on what is written as nature, as guiding principles or a mission, because it is already here and it's fine. But we can really go further to discuss what we want to do. Okay. But at least my impression from what I could see, that we are, I'm afraid that we as NGO Forum, though we have to be and get more institutionalized, and we are probably a little bit falling into repeating the worst mistakes from the committee, from the General Assembly. So if we want to keep this forum as a place where these faults and mistakes are not repeated, maybe it is also a moment to reflect on this in order not to exaggerate on wording.
I think you're right, because there's some danger that we are going to copy perhaps all these bureaucratic ways perhaps of going about. So having a mission statement and a draft resolution
yes, but I think also that as we have a mediation role with the institutional level, we need also this kind of tool. But in this kind of tool, we can also put our open spirit and open mind, and then the wording is important, of course. Then I think that it's a very good suggestion from Anna. But at the same time, I think that we need also a kind of formalization for our working group in order to really be able also to discuss with these other research network, which are sometimes too much academic, and then we need also to exist, a tool to become visible. And this is just a reflection.
And of course, what we do should be understandable to everyone. And when you tell everyone we are a working group research, then everyone thinks, okay, this is a university kind of thing, and these are researchers doing research, and etc., etc. And so you have to define yourself. But I think we are already getting somewhere. And if we try to alter or make some additions to the nature of the working group, so about this, how we are placed within the larger networks and other relevant stakeholders, this would be one thing. And the other thing of Robert, I'm more hesitating, perhaps in the same vein as Martin, about our advisory functions to the committee, perhaps. Of course, as NGOs, we have this advisory function towards the Intergovernmental Committee. But to make it specific that we as a working group research undertake as a group advisory functions towards the committee, that's perhaps a bit too much, I would say. But of course, indirectly via the steering committee and indirectly also by our activities, of course, and our symposium perhaps, or publications, we have some advisory function. We have a certain purpose with what we do, of course. And so it is included in a way, but I shouldn't make it that official in the nature of the working group research that we as a research group, etc., what I just said. Okay. Yes, Robert, sorry.
No, just to respond to you, I mean, I agree that it's not the research group per se that does the advisory functions, but it provides a foundation for what we can do for the advisory functions, so the basis of research, both research that's carried out, especially empirical research about the stuff of ICH, about ICH safeguarding and other issues. And, it provides, the basis. Well, the advisory functions are they're mediated through the steering committee, right? But I think that the steering committee is beginning to discuss how we have a more active and coordinated relationship with the working groups.
Yes,
which, strengthens the overall organization. So the research working group, I feel would be key to that.
Yes, you're right. Of course, you're right. Okay. So I thought that Naila had also raised her hand. Naila, are you here? Are you there? I see only 5 persons. So.
Yes, I'm here, but actually now I put a digest in this in chat. So I think that surely this working group is what Robert says, that it is the working group which is more closest, the more directly involved in terms of what kind of expertise can the forum offer to the committee, right? So definitely it should be somehow integrated, and then in terms of, but also define how it relates to to individual research outside of the, you know, of this network of NGOs. And so it is probably precisely because NGOs, accredited NGOs, are within the system and have, you know, maybe, I mean, so they are involved in the whole policy. And on the other hand, we can say, hopefully, that we are closer to the on the ground level, and so this mediating role and that different perspectives of NGOs as a whole are some, you know, added value. And in that sense, some kind of specific expertise that that this group and then the forum can bring to the committee, something around that, I think.
And I see now that you've also this in the chat box. Kaloyan, I don't know if this what is being said in the chat box. Will this be documented, or will you save it and present it in another document or something, Kaloyan?
I will send you all chats after the meeting.
Okay, great.
In one file.
Okay.
Because
so,
Albert.
Yes, and
Yeah.
who is Albert? Who is now?
Martin.
Oh, Martin. Yes.
Yes. No, because I agree with Hannah, with many, almost all what Anna told us just some minutes before, and I think we have to discuss. Maybe we can change our methodology, and maybe about this guiding principles, and about the mission. Maybe we can do some kind of discussion via mail, and maybe we can discuss what we are going to do, because I guess that's the important thing. So because we don't have a lot of time, and we don't have time to discuss every paragraph. We don't have 10 minutes to discuss every paragraph. So maybe to discuss what we are going to do. So thank you, Hannah, not just to tell us that, but all what you can say to remind us who we are.
I think this is a great suggestion, and although in the end we shouldn't decide upon exactly what we are going to do, because there's not the time for it, of course, and I think it would be a task for the coordination body to think about this, what is now suggested, what was going to be suggested, and then turn it into a practical plan, you know. Okay. So, but let us talk about these objectives and these short-term objectives, long-term objectives. Of course, this is very, very broad, and I think we have to narrow it. I think it should be broad, but we have to narrow it down when trying to connect it with our practical plans, you know, for next year, for instance.
Yes.
Does someone want to take the floor? I noticed that Laurier had also a question. I would like to make a suggestion regarding the guiding principles. Yes. Laurier?
Yes. I feel, you know, whenever we do research, there's always the question of how we're going to disseminate it. You know, I mean, in formal research, it's usually disseminated in, you know, specialized journals, etc., not very easily accessible to the general public, and maybe not always accessible to you know, the stakeholders, all of the stakeholders. So I think I would like to suggest that we add as a guiding principle sharing research findings in an open and accessible way, so that you know, it can be easily accessible to all stakeholders. I think that would be sort of a good thing to remind ourselves, you know, to make sure that we get involved in dissemination of research results, because this is always a big problem in research. You know, much of the research is not well disseminated, and it doesn't get to the people who can use it. You know, so I would like to suggest that.
Okay. So when I look at the chat, and then I also see people like Lubna. This is something different, but perhaps also the same, that they would like to have a list of NGOs in the working group with all the areas of ICH research. And I think this is one of the proposals already mentioned in the mission statement. But I think this would be a practical way of going about, so that we know more of each other and what we are doing and where our strengths lie. Okay, 5 new messages. Different NGOs, yeah, Amelia.
Albert, I will follow with the short-term objectives because maybe some of the questions can be discussed on these short-term objectives. So the first one is to develop and consolidate an internal communication channel within the group and with other groups of the ICH NGO Forum. So it's to define how we are going to work, which is very very important, and how we are going to work with the steering committee and with the other groups. So I guess that's something important to define our ways of collaboration. And Robert was talking about that a little bit just some minutes ago.
Okay.
So we have to define this, and yeah, maybe with the new website we can also have a place for that. The second short-term objective is to map the expertise of the ICH NGO Forum members in order to know how they can contribute to the work of the group. I guess that's something that the coordination group of this working group research can do, just like a little Excel document, and we can send it to everybody, to all the NGOs that are part of the group, so we can just figure out something easy to do that we can just share with everybody. The third one is to generate spaces to discuss relevant topics on research and on the safeguarding of ICH during the meetings of the committee and the General Assembly. So it's to define what we are going to discuss next year, for example. During the committee, we still don't know what's going to happen with the committees, with the General Assemblies. It will be online. We still don't know what's going to happen, but we have to define what we are going to discuss, and also what we are going to discuss in this webinar that we are proposing for this year. So that's something that we can discuss. And also this idea of generating spaces to discuss relevant topics, I guess that can take some of the Laurier proposal, because maybe I agree that we need some more sharing of results in an open way. Maybe we can create a blog, and every NGO or one NGO of the working group research can write a little article of no more than 1,000 words, writing something about what they are doing. I guess we can do that every month if everybody is agree and can have the time to do this. But it's a very short text about that. To create a little blog, I guess it's doable. So we can discuss about that. And 4, to promote greater inclusion and participation of NGOs from underrepresented regions in the forum. So it's to invite some other NGOs that are part of the forum to be part of this working group research. And we think that it is something that we are doing all the time. I don't know, Valentina, Amelia, if you want to say something else about these short-term objectives.
Oh, I think that it's very good. Generate spaces, not only blog and virtual spaces, but also a moment of exchange during the year. I think that it can be a very good thing to have some free space to dialogue with the interested person in this group, as Anna suggested.
Yeah.
So I think
good idea.
I think these are all sensible proposals. I think and of course they need to be worked out in a way. So it's the responsibility of the coordination team that, of course, to make it more practical. Okay, how are we going about it? What are we going to do exactly? You know. And I noticed, by the way, that Anita is also mentioning that we also should take into account, of course, these other activities of other stakeholders, so and of other forums, so like the ICH research bibliography and dive into cultural heritage, etc. Of course, we should take this into account also. We are not going to double things or something. Strong cooperation is needed, and we mustn't start with something that is already there, of course. So when working on these 4 points, I think we should think about this also and take it into consideration.
Sorry, Albert, can I interrupt for a moment?
Yes, sorry, yes.
So as you are exactly talking about using the already existing channels and networks, I am a coordinator since 2 years, and my position will still be there for 2 years of the ICH network that is created within the Association of Critical Heritage Studies. And we issue and edit every month the ICH newsletter about research that is taking place all over the world, about conferences, webinars, and it would be a wonderful opportunity also to get in touch and to use this this newsletter as a platform to create a specific, I would say, space for ICH NGO Forum working group research, because this is exactly what is this newsletter about the research dissemination. So I would be happy to help you and to create such a space, such a box in this newsletter. It is in electronic format. Many of you knows it, as many of you also take part in the Association of Critical Heritage Studies groups. And the only issue here is that association that was for a very long time fee-free, now introduced a symbolic fee. I think the minimum fee is $10 per year, but then you have access to everything. So I believe will be this is a thing to consider, and I'm fully able to help you. And
yes, of course. Well, your suggestion is noted, and of course, I know the Association of Critical Heritage. I'm even a member, so and received this newsletter, and it's very interesting, of course. I just paid my fee, by the way, this morning, but so it will be taken into account, and your offer that, of course, to make this link perhaps in a box in the ICH NGO Forum working group research, perhaps in our communication channels, that we could incorporate it in a way. Okay, great.
One more thing, as we have announced an invitation to every researcher who is interested about the possibility to organize a webinar through this newsletter, if you think of anything that you would like to discuss and to go into a broader sphere, not only among NGO Forum, but also to the community of ICH researchers, we will be happy to accept such a proposal. We have already one from Harriet Deacon that we all know, and also from people who were taking part in preparation of the background document on emergencies. So Geraldine and Christopher Ballard. So I believe we are mixing in different forums, and it will be useful to use this opportunity also for organizing a webinar. Thank you.
And of course, you're completely right. And but we have our own profile, of course, and which is not the same as from the Association of Heritage Studies. And we have also quite a few other networks, of course, in the world, which we would also like to cooperate with. And of course, we have now a member of one of these networks in our steering committee. So VF. It's also an interesting network of researchers, and not exactly the same as us, of course not, but they do interesting things also, and which we'd like to hear from. Okay. Yes.
Yes, just one quick question, Albert. I think it's going to be a great challenge to get NGOs from unrepresented regions involved. I think this will be a very major challenge because, you know, I mean, if we look at our group just today, and you know, the involvement of the NGOs in the research have been primarily from Group 1, and this is sort of understandable because, you know, there's a lot of the research is done in this region. People can use the English language easily or quite easily. So I just wanted to ask you, is there a way of reaching out to, because I don't think people will come on board naturally. I think we're going to have to make an effort to reach out. And I was thinking maybe in the coordination committee, could it be possible to have people from different regions on the coordination committee so that they don't all come from, you know, region 1?
Yes, well, this is perhaps even a bigger challenge than you presented just now, because of course it's also the question about who is defining the rules of what is good research, etc. And with our magazine Volkskunde, Jorijn and I had an experience that all the abstracts of that were turned in from regions outside of Europe and North America were turned down, because they didn't meet the criteria of good research. And what is good research, and who is going to define this? And this is especially in the context of UNESCO and all the other regions, it's a great challenge. And what we would like, of course, is to be inclusive and to incorporate them. So I think this should be a specific point of attention also for the coordination group, and it's of course mentioned already in number 4.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the time. We have only 4 minutes, I think. Is there some kind of agreement on that these 4 topics that are mentioned, and they should be developed more by the coordination group? Is that an idea that that they take this as starting point and then, well, come up with new plans, of course, next time? Okay. I want to mention just one thing. In the agenda, you noticed also already one very concrete example. Of course, after our symposium on ICH and tourism, which also wanted to add reflection towards this topic, and this also will also be useful to communities and to state parties, etc. That there is the idea of Jorijn and Martha. They are already working on it in their respective countries on this toolbox about tourism, and so perhaps Martha or Jorijn could tell us something about it. You already told us something about it during the tourism symposium, but I thought it would be a sensible idea and a nice action that we have already someone working on this topic already. So it's also practical to go ahead. But perhaps Jorijn or Martha?
Yeah, I can start briefly. Actually, we were in the aftermath of last year's discussions, and because there's suddenly a lot of dynamics around ICH and tourism also in our region. So this coincidence of things made us work on an online dossier around sustainable tourism and intangible heritage. But then we got a request of Marta, who is present also in the meeting, to have an internship with us. And half of the internship was a contribution to this thematic dossier. But I immediately had this idea, because Marta is French, why not immediately link this to the development the Intergovernmental Committee has asked for, to have tools, to have more concrete proposals of how you can work around intangible heritage and sustainable tourism, and make a contribution for the forum. Because if we elaborate text and we find links and references and articles around this subject, it can be useful for everyone. So we just made a start. We have like a file of 50 pages, with much thanks to Marta. And then we wanted to propose it to all of you and see how can we now make this dossier more complete, with contributions of the other regions of the world, maybe new practices that are developing. But at least we have a start now. and it's already in 5 chapters. And if we work on it for a few weeks or months, I think we could have like an online dossier within a concise time for the forum.
Few weeks, you tell us. A few weeks. Okay, great. Does Martha wants to add something?
I think you said everything. I'm more than happy to keep working on this, and I think there is many things that we talked about in this dossier that could be useful to many people. So yes, it is a good idea, and if everybody agrees, this could be great.
So I don't think that anyone is objecting. So okay, well, I think it would be a great practical and activity already to produce something like this. Also in connection with, of course, our symposium of a week ago, and it is a very important topic also in connection with the state parties, with our communities who are doing things with tourism. So I think it's an important topic in which we can, well, make the difference, at least add something to what has already been done. Okay, great. So, well, yes, okay. So that leaves us perhaps with only one topic to go, and this topic is, of course, who is going to be in the coordination group, and of course, in the mission statement, there's a procedure proposed, at least 2 weeks or before, etc., etc. So we cannot do this now. So we shall do it now more or less in an informal way. But I want to share it with you, of course. And of course, until now I did the coordination, and I'm very willing to join the coordination group. But I was hesitating perhaps about. Well, because what also is important, I think, is having a strong connection to the steering committee. But perhaps it shouldn't be too strong in the sense that that people from the steering committee will be joining the coordination group of the research. So this is for me an open question, but so I greatly appreciate that Laurier and Robert are present now as members of the steering committee. Perhaps it's a sensible thing to ask them to be in the coordination group, but I don't know. But I would like to hear your opinion, and I want to hear. Well, Martin was telling us, okay, well, we are looking for volunteers, perhaps, and I don't know, Martin, if you are one of the volunteers. So,
Albert, yes, I can be one of the volunteers, but let's hear if someone else wants to be part of this coordination group, and that's why, because I guess we have to define it very quickly. I am one of the volunteers, but if someone else wants to be part of the group and there's not enough space, I can just let it go. It's not. I mean, let's define.
Of course, you also have some practical ideas about developing an internal communication channel, and so I'm not strong in these things, but perhaps you are.
Maybe we could think of, I don't know, I won't speak for Laurier, but for myself, I think that maybe the steering committee members could be ex officio. I think it would be good to have a broader representation from within the committee and in the steering committee and the actual work of the committee. I'm happy to, be involved in it. I don't know, Laurier, if you have a point of view about this, about us being ex officio.
Yeah, so, well, my thought is that I think to try to get, the underrepresented regions more active, I think I would suggest that we try to have a coordination group that is made up of members from different regions. I think that seems more important to me than to have someone from the steering committee. I'm very happy to participate. I'm speaking for myself, Robert, but I would be very happy. I'm very happy to participate in the working group as a member, but and to kind of be present to to transfer information and to let the steering committee what's going on in this working group. I think we can do that very easily. But I think it seems, well, to me personally, more important to have a good regional representation on this committee. I absolutely think Albert should be on it because, you know, to ensure continuity, and I think Albert has been doing a wonderful job. There's 35 people present today, so that's an indication of the interest and the the dynamics of the group. So that would be that would be my suggestion. I think that's what you're saying as well, Robert. Have I understood correctly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, ex officio, whatever, attend meetings, but I think it's good to have people who aren't on the steering committee as an active coordinative body.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
The link with the steering committee is, of course, very important, and if it also means that some of you should in the coordination group, I don't know, but the link is very, very important, and also, of course, the topic that Laurier suggested about the underrepresentation of well, most of the regions, you could tell. Are there any more people volunteering, perhaps from the mission statement group or some other people?
I'm not volunteering, but I think it will be important to have representation of different regions in the committee also. So one if it is from Europe, Martin is from South America, so perhaps another region will be represented, will be nice.
Someone from Asia, perhaps? Well,
Yeah,
Asia
Pacific, I think, is important.
Yes.
Some message from chat from Bangladesh, Lubna. She's asking that what does volunteering entail? So maybe, Albert, there was some also earlier message from Anna, who is a newcomer. So maybe along with the Word document, if we circulate, you know, what all it entails for the newcomers, it will be easier to understand. You can save the chat. There are many questions which we really didn't address.
Sorry, Anaya, but I didn't understand anything what you were saying, but because I couldn't hear you quite well, but
Can you hear me now?
Well, somewhat better, yes.
Yes. So what I was saying that in the chat box, there are messages from newcomers.
Okay.
Like Lubna Mariam from Bangladesh, she's asking, and there are many people who are newcomers and they're writing in the chat. So maybe, you know, you can save the chat and then what they want to know, what it entails. Perhaps they're not clear about how we work. So I think since the meeting time is up today, maybe we can send a mail.
Okay, great.
To the chat. Yeah.
So, and Kalayan is going to take care of that we get these chat messages, and but then to make it more practical, perhaps should we perhaps start with Martin and with me, and then try to find someone from another region? Is that a sensible idea, Martin?
Yes, I think so. I think it's very sensible.
Okay. And we will take into account Lubna, of course, who is sending messages. And okay, so so Martin and I will take care of. Perhaps make it so to change the mission statement somewhat. Following the discussion just now, okay. And then prepare something for, okay, how are we going to about, what are we going to do, and the last thing is, of course, that Jorijn and Martha are also working on this, and well, and we would like to hear soon from you, of course, and then with great expectations. So okay, so is this? Shall we then conclude our meeting then? And I want to thank you all, of course, for your active participation. I think, really, I think so, that it's of some importance what we are doing, I think, and perhaps even giving flesh and bones to our advisory functions, as to so we can make the difference somewhere, I think, with our research group. So thank you very much for your attention. You shall hear more of us, of course, and we shall present it, of course, also on the website of the IGHA Forum. So thank you very much.